Hello everyone, what's up? Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about darts again, and I'm going to be giving you my predictions for the upcoming World Match Play, which starts this weekend, going on for just over a week from the Winter Gardens in Blackpool. It's a really good tournament, so if you don't know much about darts, have a watch of this video because I'll talk about all the players. We've got 32 players, and it'll just be really good. If you don't know, this is probably the second biggest darts tournament of the year. It's a really fun tournament, and I'm excited to do my predictions about it. So yeah, we'll just go through all the rounds, give you my predictions for each match, and we'll find who I think the winner's gonna be. And if you're excited for the video, as always, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And now, let's get into it. Alright, so we'll start off with the first round. Just to let you know, it's first to 10 legs, so 501 finish on the double. In the first round, it goes up as we go on in the tournament, and you have to win by 2 clear legs to get through to the next round. So it could go to 11, 9, 12, 10, or if it's still 12, 12, it just goes down to 1 leg. So 13, 12, it would finish there. Okay, so Luke Humphries v Jan van Veen. Luke Humphries, #1 in the world, reigning Premier League champion. However good Jan van Veen looks, I think it's be 10-8 to Humphries here, to be honest. Very close though. Noppert, who's 16th in the world, he's playing Cameron Menzies. Noppert is the seed here. He has been looking pretty good recently. However, Cameron Menzies doing well on the Pro Tour, which is kind of their, usual tournaments behind closed doors. And they doing well in them, kind of can qualify them for these big tournaments. And I'm going to say 10-7 to Menzies there. Nathan Aspinall v Wessel Nyman. Wessel Nyman's looking really good in the Pro Tours, and he's done really well to qualify for the match play. However, Nathan Aspinall is defending lots of money for his rankings. So if you don't know, basically their rankings go on how much money they've earned in the last 2 years from darts. And 2 years ago, he won this World Match Play. So that money will be coming off after the tournament, so that's £200,000. So he wants to do well in this. Yeah, I'll say 10-5 to Nathan Aspinall. James Wade against Joe Cullen. Joe Cullen has done really well in his career, made a Premier League final. He's a great player. However, he has not been very good for the past 18 months, been very on and off really. So James Wade, probably the greatest player to never win a world championship, wins that 10-3 for me. Stephen Bunting, one of my favourite players, playing Ryan Joyce. Ryan Joyce is a great finisher. He's great at hitting those doubles, especially double 16. However, Stephen Bunting, despite a pretty disappointing Premier League, has done great. He's won quite a few titles in different scenarios, in different tours this year. So I'm going to say close, 12-10 to Bunting. So I think they'll have to play more than going up to 10. Gary Anderson versus Luke Woodhouse. Now, Gary Anderson has looked very good recently. And on my notes, I've got it 8-10 to Luke Woodhouse. However, recently in a Euro tour this weekend, which is like another tour, where there is a crowd, a bit confusing, he has looked so good that I'm actually going to change that and say 10-8 to Gary, because he just looks so good this weekend. Then Johnny Clayton v Martin Schindler. Johnny Clayton looking really back, getting some big form in. One of the favourites maybe for this tournament. However, Martin Schindler, of course, great on the Euro Tour. And I definitely think he'll bring that form into TV soon, onto TV. So I'm going to say 11-9 to Schindler, actually. Dave Chisnell versus Mike Dedeker. This year, Chisnell has not been good enough. Dedeker hasn't been great since that historic, really, Grand Prix win. However, I'll say 10-6 to Dideka. So there we go. Alright, so Luke Littler, obviously I'm sure lots of you know him, versus Ryan Searle. Luke Littler, obviously amazing, probably the favourite for this tournament. He hasn't won a match in Blackpool yet at the match play because he went up to Michael Van Gogh in the first round last year. This year I think he'll get over the line. I'm saying 10-7 in the first match. Peter Wright versus Jermaine Watamina. Jermaine Watamina's actually looks really good recently, done well to qualify for this tournament. Peter Wright sadly just hasn't been doing that well, or not been doing well enough recently. He has the odds good tournament, but not many sadly, so I'm going to say 10-4 to Watamina. Heta versus Gilding. Gilding actually played really well on Euro Tours and Pro Tours recently, but Heta has been incredible away from these big TV events. He needs to bring that to TV, and I think he's going to win this one. I'm going to say 10-7 to Heta, but Gilding does look really good, to be fair to him. Rob Cross versus Dirk van Dijvenbode. Rob Cross wasn't that good in the Premier League, sadly. It's just been very mediocre from him recently. But Dirk van Dijvenbode, when it's his day, he is incredible recently, and he's getting back to his old self. I'm going to say 10-5 to Dirk in that one. Then, Van Gerwen versus Raymond van Barneveld. What's a match? Probably the two greatest Dutch players of all time facing off. However, neither of them have been too amazing this year. But Van Gerwen, this is big for him. He has to prove himself. I'm saying 11-9 there to Van Gerwen. Ross Smith v Josh Rock. That's a great game. Josh Rock recently won the World Cup of Darts for Northern Ireland. Did so well to do that. And he is just looking great at the moment. I could see him being in the Premier League next year, actually. If I was in charge, I'd probably pick him because the darts he's playing on and off TV is amazing. I'm saying 10-7 to him in this one. He actually isn't a seed, which really surprises me based on how well he's been doing lately. Chris Sobey versus Ricardo Pietrangelo. Ricardo, he can do well at times, but just not enough, and he is one of the lesser favoured players going into this tournament. Chris Sobey hasn't been too good on TV this year, but very good off TV on the Pro Tours and everything, so I'll say he gets a 10-6 win here. Then a repeat of a first round match last year. Gezi Gerwin Price playing Daryl Gurney of Northern Ireland, the other World Cup winner. He's looked really good since winning the World Cup for his country, but Gerwin Price has been unbelievably good this year, and I have to say 10-4 to him. Right, so we move on to the second round. We've now bumped up to 11, first to 11 legs, but then it could go to 12, 10, 13, 11. You get the idea. So, Luke Humphries versus Cameron Menzies. Oh. As good as Cameron Menzies would do to get past his first match, I would say Humphries will be too much for him. I'm going to say 11-3 to Humphries. Nathan Aspinall versus James Wade. James Wade, he did really well last year. He got to the semi-finals in Blackpool. And such an established player, he's won this tournament. But Aspinall defending the money is two former winners here. But I'm going to say 11-5. 11-5 to Aspinall. What happened there? Sorry. Stephen Bunting versus Gary Anderson. Again, Gary Anderson playing great stuff, did really well in the Euro Tour. However, Bunting picked up 4 titles this year, I believe. He's just playing great stuff for the most part. I'm going to say 11-6 to Bunting. Schindler against Mike Dideka. Dideka, he hasn't been playing great stuff. However, I'm going to say he gives Schindler a game. I'm not going to say he wins. I'll say 11-8 to Schindler. Littler versus Jermaine Wassamina. These two actually played each other in the Grand Slam last year. It was something ridiculous, like 16-2 to Littler in that one, 16-3, 16-4, something like that. I thought it might be 16-0 to be honest. And to be honest, I don't think it'll be too different here. I'm going to say 11-2 to Littler. Heta versus Van Dijvenbode. Dirk Van Dijvenbode. As good as Heta is, he just hasn't shown it enough on TV, I'd say. Which is his problem from not getting into stuff like the Premier League. So I'm going to say Dirk actually wins it and makes it to the quarterfinals. Great for his confidence. 11-9. Then Michael van Gerwen playing Josh Rock. Oh, that's a big one. That could be a really good game to watch. Do I go over reputation and history or do I go over form? I'm going to go form and say 11-8 to Rock. Like Van Gerwen, he's a great player, but Rock's playing really good at the moment. Chris Dobie against Gerwin Price. Yeah, Gerwin Price is going to be too much for Dobie on a big stage like that. I'm going to say 11-5 to Gezi. Alright, we are now on to the quarterfinals. It is now first to 16 legs, so much longer games. Luke Humphreys versus Nathan Aspinall. You know, Aspinall, he needs to defend some money, like soften the blow a bit to his ranking. I'm not sure where he's going to go if he gets to, say, the quarterfinals, which is where I think his run's going to end, because Luke Humphreys may be the best player in the world right now. Done so good. He's a Triple Crown winner now after winning the Premier League. I saw that live. Not to brag, but I did. And yeah, he's doing really good stuff at the moment. I'm going to say 18-16 to Humphreys. So very close. They can't decide it through first to 16. A really good game. Stephen Bunting versus Martin Schindler. Schindler, so good on the Pro Tour or Euro Tour. Bunting is just really pretty consistent at the moment. Obviously, like the Premier League, bit disappointing, but still, he's doing great stuff. And I'm going to say Bunting does get the win here. 16-13, so pretty tight game. Then Luke Littler versus Dirk Van Dijvenbode. As good as Dirk's playing, again, it's Littler. It's very hard to beat, especially on a big stage. So I will say 16-6 to Littler, but Dirk, to have a run like that is really good. And he should be very pleased if he does that. Oh, and then probably the hardest to predict game out of these, Josh Rock versus Gerwin Price. Well, Gezi, doing great, but also Rock. Now I'm going to say 16-12 to Rock on that one. So he makes the semi-finals of the Matchplay, another major semi-final for him after getting to the semi-final of the UK Open earlier this year. Now we're on to the semi-finals, and not to brag, I'm actually going to be there at the Winter Gardens for those semis, so very, very excited to go up to Blackpool to see them. Great fun at the darts. If you've never been, please let's see when there's a tournament near you and go, because it's lots of fun, really entertaining thing to do. And I'm quite happy. I would be happy if these were the four that I get to see. I've seen Humphreys a couple of times. I've seen Bunting. I've seen Littler a couple of times. I've never seen Josh Rock, so I'd like at least one player who I've never seen to be there. So that would be good if Rock's there, but obviously I do want the entertainers like Bunting, Aspinall, Price. I do obviously want some of them to be there as well, so it'll be interesting to see who I get. But let's predict them. The matches. Humphreys versus Bunting will be first to 17 now. And I sadly think Bunting is not going to be able to push through against Humphreys. under such a long format, and I'm going to say 17-11 to Luke Humphries. Then Luke Littler versus Josh Rock. It's probably a good one. Two of probably the brightest prodigies of recent years in the sport, but Littler will be too much. I'm going to say 17-13 to Littler. So, yeah, and the final, no surprise, Luke Humphries versus Luke Littler. Yeah, I don't think it surprises you. That's my final. They're the two best players in the world by a long way, and sadly, I think it's going to be difficult for anyone else to make it to the final on the 27th of July. And yeah, there you go. Humphries v Littler. And it's first to 18. However, it can go further. And I have a very, very big prediction for the final. I am going to say it's going to be the first ever World Matchplay final to go to a last leg decider. So I think I've guessed that they go up to 20-20. So I'm going to say it's 20-all. And there's going to be a last leg decider. And the winner will be Luke Humphries. Yeah, I think Luke Humphries is going to go back-to-back at the Winter Gardens and win his second successive World Matchplay. But that's going to be really tight, the final. If Littler wins, he wins a Triple Crown as well. So we could have two new Triple Crown winners in the same year. But I don't think so. I've just gone with Humphries, but honestly, so close to pick between those two. But if it gets to the last leg, that is amazing. It would be a great final. And that concludes the video. I really enjoyed that. Lots of fun talking about darts for a change. Towards the end of the year, you get lots of big tournaments. I could do some more predictions later in the year, so let me know if you enjoyed this one. And yeah, lots of videos lined up. As I've said before, I'm hoping to do a few more away day vlogs in the coming months, seasons, whatever. So yeah, I've got a couple away days in the summer. So there's one of the away days. I won't say where I'm going for it. I think I could do a really good video out of not just the football, but what else I do when I'm over there. So I won't tell you which one, but if you look on Watford's schedule, you can see the two away games we have, and you can probably guess which one is more likely to be the one based on distance. But yeah, look out for those ones coming up, and loads more matches this season. I'll vlog hopefully. But yeah, apart from that, obviously, as I said at the start of the video, like, subscribe, all of that stuff. One thing left to say, bye and peace.